It's time for Veterans Issues, the show that brings you information about veterans, military, and their families. Now here's your host, Ken Rollins.
Welcome into Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins here. Today's guest is a friend of mine for many years. He's a United States Marine. He's a former county commissioner, and now he's a circuit court clerk of Calhoun County. And we've got a very interesting story, as always, with Eli Henderson. Stay where you are. Get you a pen. Be right back. Welcome back in. Thanks for tuning in with us this week. Thank you for tuning in last week. This week's guest is former Calhoun County Commissioner Eli Henderson. He's moved on up to the circuit court clerk now of the Calhoun County. And we got some things to talk about, some things that you local folks read about in the paper. Welcome to the show, Eli.
Thank you, Mr.
Let's get back. I tell you that in our stinger in the opening act for opening for the show every week, Eli Henderson sitting back there in your younger days on the show. And when we were picking the people that would be on the show, you recognize some of them, I'm sure. And couldn't have an opening without having Eli Henderson on it. We go back a long way, about 12 miles, ain't it?
Further than that. Way further than that.
Yeah. Now, Eli, I hadn't talked to you since, I think at one time since you came out of the county commission, but do you miss being a county commissioner?
Well, not really. Having this new job opens up some new opportunities. You know, I get engrossed with wherever I'm at, and the courthouse is a lot of history at the courthouse, and you know, we finally found the time capsule that I thought would never be found, that's never been undug. And then I wanted to beautify the courthouse along with the sheriff. Sheriff wanted to take down a lot of the bushes and things that have overgrown at the courthouse, and he was rightfully so. We need to do that, but what he did was myself and some of the sheriff department people, we got together and we cut some of the trees down. David West was also a part of that. But what we did was cut a lot of the trees down and we beautified it. We even planted some knockout roses in the front of the courthouse. And while we were doing all this, well, we found and I had no idea it was there. I don't think a lot of people knew. We found a cornerstone that was laid in 1900 by the local Masonic organization. And me belonging to the Masonic organization all my life, just about, well, it was important that we look into that and see what the story was behind that. So I found out that one of the people that's one of the original commissioners that was in office when they built the courthouse was Robert Downing's grandfather.
Really? And
his name is Louis Napoleon Downing.
Oh, my goodness.
So I asked Robert about that. You know, I took another half a block away and I went over and talked to Robert about it. And I said, you know, I had no idea your grandfather was on this cornerstone. And he said, yeah. I said, he is. And I said, well, you've got a boy named Louis, you know, Downing. And I said, is that any relation? He said, well, he's named after him. I said, surely you didn't name him Napoleon. He said, well, yeah, what's wrong with that?
Oh, Lord.
I said, well, coming from you, it's perfect. Yeah. I understand it. But how many people would name their kids after Napoleon?
Well, what I need to know was the short.
No.
Because Napoleon was, short fellow.
Well, you know,
I see the picture right there.
I tried to get the Star to go down and take a picture of Louis, and they just don't pay any attention to me at the Henderson Star like they once did. But I tried to get them to take a picture of Louis with his, like this, and do a story about that. But maybe it's coming. Maybe it's coming.
Let me ask you this. When you found in that time capsule, was there any pictures, school pictures of Ken Joyner in that thing? I hope he's watching this.
You know, and I hope he does too. But what strangely enough, I asked Ken about the time capsule because I read somewhere years ago where they either buried it, and I couldn't have been there then because this was in 1900. But I did read where they uncovered it in '64. So what happened was Fred Berger, I put Fred Berger on the trail, and he found an old newspaper from 1964, that had the story in there where they uncovered it and what was inside of it. But there was a lot of things in there that was very important. And it was a copper box, and the rats had got in, they eat up the newspapers. There was a copy of the Hot Blast and also a copy of the Anderson Star. But I know what you're leading up to. You're like I am, Ken Joyner. I mean, I said Ken Joyner, Ken Rollins. You want to go ahead and do another time capsule.
I would love to see it done and come back 100 years from now and look see what it looks like, how it holds up. Can we, you think we can arrange that?
Well,
so that'd be 129 by then.
I apologize for calling you Ken Joyner, but
No.
I was going to bring back
I'm
Ken.
going to give you $5 for doing it.
I'm going to bring back Ken Joyner's name. You know, Ken told me, he said, Eli, I think in the back of my mind, when I was trying to find out where this was buried, he said, it seems like in the back of my mind, they dug this thing up. And I said, well, you've always been pretty close to being right. And when we found out that, when we found a newspaper from that time frame, sure enough, he was right. They had dug it up. But I'd like to plan another time capsule. And what I'd like to do, we're going to have a rededication November the 15th. The Masonic organization for Calhoun County and a lot of people from the state will be here. And at that point in time, we're going to do another rededication of the cornerstone that was laid in 1900. We're going to doctor this one up a little, and we're going to have Lewis Downing over there like this. And but I want to plan another time capsule. I just think Philip Tudor.
Wait a minute, let me interrupt you. The one that you're going to do on November the 15th, that's one that's already 100 years old or whatever.
No, this is going to be a new one.
But okay, you said rededication
of the cornerstone itself. If you go by the courthouse, there's a cornerstone laid there. Okay. Years and years ago, when they built a big building or a famous building or a building such as the courthouse, the Masonic organization, you know, George Washington was a Mason. You've heard all these stories about the Masons. Yeah. But anyway, Masons back in the old days were very important people. And what they did, they put a cornerstone. It's a block of concrete about 3 foot high, about my size. I got that before you.
From you.
Yeah. But anyway, in 1900, underneath that cornerstone, and it's not big, it looked like about a 2x2 on the bottom, so it couldn't have been a whole lot in that box that they planted in 1900. But anyway, what I want to do is plant another time capsule, maybe in front, a little bigger one to hold more material, because I want to put some of the computer stuff that we've got today and the other things, and you mentioned earlier some things that you'd like to see put in there.
Yeah, I would like to see, I got something here I brought for you today. I knew you was talking about doing that. And up in the Centennial Memorial Park, this starts off in this brochure, and it tells how that park was built. And about the first paragraph, it talks about you and me and the people, and it mentions how that park was built. So I've got 3 of those in here, then sealed, hermetically sealed, as Johnny Carson used to say. And I'd like to see if you could talk the folks into putting these in there so they'll know 100 years from now how that park came to be. Can we do that?
Yes.
All right.
I think that's an excellent idea, by the way.
All right. And let me ask you this. You're talking about, you said the 15th you're going to, the cornerstone. We only got a few seconds. Let me ask you this question. We'll talk about it when we come back. But you're going to do the time capsule. Would you be looking to do that around the same time? Or you want to do that?
Yes, on November the 15th.
Okay, do that and the cornerstone.
Right. While we're having the rededication and we got all those people there,
all right.
I think that would be a perfect time to
bury. We got to go to a break. That's really important. I got some questions about that. We're going to go to a pause. Get your pen. I'm going to tell you some information about this, how you can do that. Stay where you are. Be right back. Welcome back in, and this is Ken Rollins. I'm talking with Eli Henderson, the Circuit Court Clerk, Calhoun County, and we were talking about a time capsule that's going to be placed in the ground up at the county courthouse on November the 15th, along with the cornerstone. And Eli, before you go, let me ask you this, before you go to something else about this. What if the people out there in the viewing audience has an idea of something they'd like to put in there? They can't put a 57 Chevrolet down that little box. But something that would fit. How wide? Do you know the dimensions roughly?
Not yet. What I thought, Ken, and this is just me thinking. You know, you mentioned earlier about, I always thought we should have a memorial to Ty Cobb. He got his start in Henderson.
Yeah.
Well, some people scoffed at that idea.
Right.
And I finally made it happen. It took a couple of years, and thank God for Sam Stewart Sr.,
Thank you.
who knew Ty Cobb personally. But the question you just asked, somebody out there might remember when we dug this one up and have some information relative to that, because this one I understand was dug up in 1964. And more important than that, what I like to do is get some input from your viewers as to what we should put in this time capsule.
Would you want to start forward? What year would you start? Because you said that was up in 64. I mean, that was for a lot of years back. Would you want to put stuff in there from what year beginning? What, would you want to put in this capsule? And that's something y'all have to think about as a committee.
Right.
As to where do you want to start,
Well, first of all, me being an Auburn fan, the first thing we would do is put Jason Duffner's win this past week. And I've been working on my Duffner lookalike.
We got it.
But anyway, I'd like to put something in there. And University of Alabama's won 3 national championships.
Yeah.
I want people to know about that later up and maybe even forgot about it. And the fact that Auburn won a national championship a couple of years ago. Things like that. Plus, this one will probably be a little more political. I was telling Brian Howell yesterday that he's our presiding judge. I want people to know when they open this time capsule up. We're going to open this one up, by the way, in 2050, which is 37 years away. I'm trying to get this thing back on an even keel. I won't be here, but the people.
Won't?
I don't think so.
I don't even buy green bananas.
But the point is, I think it's important that we do this, and I wanted his name to be Brian Howell because he's our presiding judge at this point in time. Brian McVeigh and Brian Howell both do a wonderful job, and I want Brian McVeigh's name to be in it. He's our DA, does an excellent job. Lynn Hammonds, who's assistant DA, does an excellent job. She was voted the assistant DA of the year by her peers.
I saw that.
But I want to make it a little more political. I want the mayor of Ohatchee's name in there. I want the mayor of Piedmont's name in there. I want, politically speaking, and Leon Smith. And by the way, I still think we ought to build a statue to Leon Smith. People think I'm crazy.
Well, as long as you put that big old ring on it and people could come up to the statue and kiss the ring. You always talk
I don't have trouble. Yeah, I used to kid Ken Rollins all the time. I said, I've got to go to Oxford. And I said, the only thing I hate about going down there, I have to kiss Leon's ring, and it sometimes hurts my lip. But the point is, no person, no man or woman has ever done as much for his town and his community as Leon Smith has.
Yeah,
We got to give him credit for that. And if we can build a statue to Nick Saban, why not Leon Smith?
Oh yeah, that I've had mayors on here from other towns and off the air. One of them told me we're playing by the Leon Smith MO. We go by that, but by how to entice businesses. There's nothing wrong with that. That's flattery. And if you go down to where we built the Veterans Home at Pell City, across the street is the St. Vincent's, and you look at that exit, how it's growing, the incentives they gave to those people. About 5 or 6 years ago, I was sitting in a room with the economic development people. There was 2 shovels against the wall, chrome shovels. Now the whole wall is nothing but chrome shovels. That's where they had the groundbreaking for the various business. A lot of people didn't use a shovel, so those are the ones that they dug ground with. And it's amazing to look at it now, and looking at Oxford, what they've done, a little copying going up and down the interstate there. And now we got that exit up there toward Heflin, the one at 199.
Yes.
And we're going to think about annexing Atlanta in there. I tried to get them to annex Detroit in there so they straighten it up. Nobody would buy into that. I don't know why. But we're back to the time capsule now, and we want to make sure that folks, and my number is on the screen here. You see it?
Yes.
You don't see it? You see my number right there? And
No.
Neither do I, but I know kids that put it up there. So that number, then call me, and if they got a suggestion, but they need to know what to be in. Don't come back with something out of the antiques.
Right.
But come back with something that represents Calhoun County in this era.
In this
Is that what
time
you're
frame.
talking about?
That's exactly right.
Okay, so then a plaque with all the names of the politicians would be very appropriate. Even a message in there about hermetically sealed that would tell who these people were, and it wouldn't hurt to have a little bit of their contributions to the community. And if you look at where that courthouse sat, I always look at it as a county seat for Piedmont, Anniston, and Oxford, and all of it. And I remember going down there as a kid and looking at, I met Big Jim Folsom barefooted, standing on the steps to that, and I was a little kid, and to see a man, was he 22 feet tall or something like that?
21.
Yeah, to see somebody in overalls, barefooted, stomping to be the governor of the state of Alabama, and just listen to that voice. You can imagine what I got as a kid, and on the steps of the Calhoun County Courthouse.
Well, also, one thing that impresses me most about the courthouse is years ago it was a meeting place of almost anything and everything, and you could always hear a good sermon there. Almost any day you came by there, if somebody would be standing on the courthouse steps preaching to somebody.
Sure would.
Billy Mack Quick was there, I know, at least twice.
That's amazing. It does have a lot of history, and when you look at it, it just says, "I am Calhoun County." Now, let's get on some other things. This is something I talked to Judge Stedham about the other day. They've got a thing in the state of Alabama, and I don't expect you to know all about this, but it's called Veterans Court. And what it does is it allows the veteran to come in that's committed a crime, plead guilty to the crime, and if it's associated with alcohol or something, they go into treatment. If it's associated with drugs, they go into the VA treatment. On the cost of the VA, they have a mentor, and those people have to meet certain schedules. And the reason I'm talking to you about it, you used to tell me what it costs for a prisoner to be incarcerated in the county jail. As a county commissioner, you was aware of that, and if they had a medical condition, the county had to pick it up. Well, this Brenda Stedham is working on having one here in Calhoun County, and I know that you'll be interested in that because that's where the veteran has served the country, and because of that, they may have post-traumatic stress, may have something that taking medication for, and they just did something, but they plead guilty to it. There's no trial, and they put them in this program, and that's something that you'll be hearing a lot about. But I say that to you because I know you was interested in the incarceration of people and having the cost that the county has to pay.
Well, it costs on the average $50 a day for us to keep each inmate there in the jail all day. That includes his food, clothing, and the people to guard over him, and the lights and the electricity and the gas that keeps him heated and warm. But by the same token,
I'm running out. They tell me I'm out of time. Will you come back sometime for me?
sure, be glad
So
to.
we get closer to this, we're going to need to talk about it. But I want the folks out there to get involved, and let's make this happen, buddy. That's what you always say. We'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen.
All right,
That's
just stay where you are. We appreciate you being on there. Get in touch with me if you got some ideas for the time capsule, and I'll pass it on to Eli, and there'll be a committee formed, and we'll make sure your stuff gets mentioned anyhow. So stay where you are. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. Thanks to Eli Henderson for being on here today and look at some good information. If you're interested in helping with the time capsule, be sure and give me a call at that 831-2838, 256-831-2838, and I'll pass that on to Eli and the folks that are going to be doing a capsule. So I think that's very interesting. Now, as I told you in the past, things I have to remind you about, that we need help on driving the vans to Birmingham to take the veterans from the Oxford VA clinic to take them over to Birmingham to the VA hospital and return them safely back to Oxford. And there's a need for that. The same number that you've got, I hear the 831-2838 number. Give me a call and I'll put you in touch with Paul, and we will. That'll be some of the most noble work you'll ever do, and it's a blessing to be able to take a 90-year-old veteran to the hospital and back that they can't drive and everything. So please listen up, and if you got some time on your hands, that'd be a good way to use it. And if you're looking for work and you're a veteran, I always tell you, call Sonny Miller. Sonny was my guest last week, and his number is 256-832-0147, extension 244. Call Sonny, He's the veterans representative for the Alabama Employment Service, so he can help you out. Now the new parking is, if you don't already have that written down, it's 2128 4th Avenue North over in Birmingham for the VA hospital. 2128 4th Avenue North. And if you're looking for work in the healthcare field, HMR Veteran Services, HMR is still hiring, especially down at the new home down in Pell City, hmrveteranservices.com. Go to the career button and see what's available. Now, P.O. Box 1826, Henderson, is the address of the community foundation that handles the not-for-profit money for the memorials we're going to build up there. And this week, I've got welcome back to the show, Bella. Now, this is Bella's last week with me before she's working this week, and then she has to go back to school. Where do you go to school, Bella?
Yarmanville.
Yarmanville. And do you know who your teacher's going to be this year?
Miss Magical.
Miss Magical.
Madra.
Okay. It sounded like magical. She probably will.
Yeah, but it has like like in Drama Queen.
Magical. I can even understand that. What grade are you going to be in?
First
grade. And you've been on here now nearly a month. How did it feel working your summer? Other kids out playing, you're always up here working for Veterans Issues.
Oh, good.
You like
Great.
that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you've been a good employee. I hate to see you go, but can you come back at Christmas when you're out for school at Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you will. That's good to know, because I can tell people to look for Bella coming back in Christmas. That's great. So you're going to retire today. This will be your retirement thing for Veterans Issues. And the one thing that you do when you do the Pledge of Allegiance, folks tell me out there that is so nice to see a young lady out there doing the Pledge of Allegiance on television. They don't see that anymore. And you got some fans out there. I don't like it because they're my fans that's coming over to you now. But no, I'm just kidding you that. Well, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance again today. You're going to be able to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And then we can do a salute. And we do the salute. You're going to do that correct salute. Here we go.
Wait,
We got to hurry. We only got 20 seconds. You can't.
For being a great boss.
Okay, I'm a great boss, and you're
Super
got a gift.
duper boss.
Okay, we'll see what
And
that is. She has brought me a gift.
And because
Now
I
we
love
gotta go.
you.
Give me the pledge. Give me the pledge right quick.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we salute. Thank you, Bella.